Hello, and welcome to another edition of One Bad Veggies Root Beer Review, where in this review we find out who we should get on the case. So yeah, in this review we're doing Mason's root beer, which has actually nothing to do with Perry Mason, but I couldn't think of, there's not a lot of masonry jokes out there, and I don't think making Freemason jokes is maybe naturally funny. So yeah, I went with Perry Mason. Sorry about that. No, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. Anyway, Masons, interesting. Looked up a little history on Masons. There actually were a Chicago-based company called Mason and Masons Inc., which, sure. They've been sold a whole bunch of different times to a bunch of different companies, including Pepsi themselves, until eventually it fell into the hands of their current owners, which is the Monarch Brewing Company, who at the time when they bought Masons, they were also the people who made Dad's Root Beer, which Dad's Root Beer has also changed hands at some point. And then during the time period where they were owned by Monarch and Dad's was their premier root beer, so Masons kind of fell behind and everything. But now they are, from what I understand, the main root beer that Monarch sells. And so they got a little bit more of a presence out there than they used to, but it's still a pretty niche thing. If you look up Monarch, their brands, is a lot of stuff that you don't see, like kickaboo juice, not kickaboo, kickapoo juice, like like the Tenacious D song. Anyway, so yeah, just interesting stuff. This is a re-review, of course, and that's basically it. So let's go ahead and get on into the ingredients. All right, let's take a look at the ingredients, which should be appearing right here. And of course, basically the normal rogues gallery of flavors: carbonated water, sugar, caramel color, natural artificial flavors, preservatives, da 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 da. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bottle. The only thing of note that I would say about the ingredients is the fact that it has, again, with my understanding that ingredients are usually listed from most prominent to least prominent, the fact that the flavors are lower on there than the preservatives is kind of weird. Anyway, basic looking bottle here. From what I can understand, that is basically the same logo they've had for a really long time. I actually found that there was a restaurant, a root beer restaurant. I don't know what you call it. Drive through, whatever you call them. That's labeled as Masons and uses the same label. So I'm assuming that they were connected at one point in time. But no, I mean, this looks like something looks almost kind of like out of the 70s or something like that. It says that at least the root beer was back from the restaurant is back from the 50s. I don't know if that's how old the actual root beer is. I actually probably have that information. Says here that Mason's old-fashioned root beer was actually originally manufactured in 1947. So I'm sure it probably had a different looking bottle back then, but this looks like something that was made maybe in the 50s, maybe. It still kind of looks maybe 60s, 70s to me, but who knows? Things change. Otherwise, keg flavored brew, or keg brewed flavor is what it says on the bottle, which I've had a few barrel aged keg flavored da 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 da, all those kind of things. Sometimes it's noticeable, sometimes it's not. So yeah, not a whole lot to say about this one because, like I said, it's your standard set of ingredients. So let's go ahead and crack it open and see what those ingredients smell like. All right, let's go ahead and pop this one open and get ourselves a little bit of that scent. Let's see if it's a twister. It is. All right. that is faint. I don't know how else to put it. Not a lot of scent coming out of it. And what I do smell is very anise, to put it simple. Yeah, not particularly, not a real strong scent though. I'm gonna try again real quick because, maybe it just needs a second here. Yeah, mostly kind of a licorice kind of smell coming out of it. Sweet, but still, that's mostly what I'm smelling at the moment. So, but it's so faint. It's so just kind of like, doesn't stick out a whole lot. Kind of strange. I've never really had a root beer that never really kind of like had a real strong aroma before, and this one is definitely very faint. So let's go ahead and let's get into the pour and the foam. Here we go. I've gotten out the old trusty mug. Now, I remember when I originally reviewed this one had a crazy tall head on it. So let's go ahead and see if this is like this. Or well, that's different. That's different for sure. There's still a head there, but and it's long lasting. It's staying there. So let's go ahead and get ourselves a taste of it before it goes away. It's definitely aggressively licorice flavored. That at least the foam is. Not sure how I'm gonna like this one. So, there's not a whole lot to say. Again, and weirdly enough, it's a strangely like. Now this is the foam, so I'm not. Usually with the foam, you don't get a whole lot of flavor going on, but usually you kind of get a sense of the aftertaste, and in this case, this is the aftertaste. But that's my opinion, of course, just my opinion. Yeah, let's go ahead and just hop into the taste test, and let's see how this goes. All right, bottoms up. I don't know what to say about this one. Well, I do know what to say about this one. Sometimes I have a hard time struggling trying to figure out what to say as far as reviews and stuff like that. This one, let's just talk about the flavor. The flavor is kind of what I ended up expecting it to taste like, which was a little too anise heavy, a little too heavy on the rooty flavors of root beer. It was weird because when you take that first drink, it's actually very sweet. You can actually kind of taste like a hint of vanilla and everything, but quickly it's overtaken by the other flavors, the like I said, the more licorice centric flavors of the root beer. That said, even right now with the aftertaste that I'm kind of getting, I feel like I just ate a bag of licorice, and I am not the biggest fan of that. And there's really not a whole lot more to say about the flavor. It is, in a way, it's got a very standard. It goes down smooth. Not really much of a bite. I would say it has a very kind of standard, what I would usually level as like a C level flavor to it. But this aftertaste, I am not digging it. So let's go ahead and get into the letter grade. It's funny because recently I felt like I had been really kind of throwing out a lot of like good letter grades lately. Like considering that I consider an A, B, or a C as a good grade. C is good standard, B a little bit higher than that, A is astounding, right? I felt like I've been giving out a lot of A, Bs, and Cs lately. It's like, man, don't feel like I've been given a lot of low grades to stuff. And to be fair, an F is what I consider to be undrinkable. You don't see a lot of Fs. In fact, I would hope if you're a food product, you're not throwing a lot of Fs out there, because if you're making stuff that's just undrinkable filth, then maybe don't do that. So, but D's, I haven't thrown out a lot of D's lately, and I thought that was kind of interesting, because sometimes you think to yourself a little bit, am I being too easy on things? And then something comes up that's just like, no, this is a D, this is a D, and this is a D. So it's not, like I said, F is something that I would just tell people not to drink, do avoid. you know I don't think that's Mason's necessarily, but I do think, because this is still based on my own taste and everything, I have to give it a D, because it's just not my kind of flavor. Now, to other people who do like maybe an anise or spice rich root beer, maybe they would enjoy this root beer a bit more than I do. Maybe they would probably give it, in my opinion, even if I did enjoy the anise flavor and stuff like that, I don't think I would give it more than a C either, because the flavor that was there that I did enjoy is pretty standard. Nothing that really kind of like shook me to my core or anything like that. So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stick with the D on this one. So, yeah, D. So that's it for this review. I feel like it was kind of a quick one. I'll probably see once I'm done finished editing this video. And other than that, like, subscribe, or don't. Just enjoy the video, and I hope it helps your purchasing decisions, or lack thereof, maybe in this case. Also, I was thinking of maybe adding a link to some of the re-reviews, and this one included, to the blog where I reviewed them originally, so you can kind of see what my original thoughts were. The funny part is I noticed when I was looking back at the blog where I originally viewed this one, it's almost, I think I reviewed it on July 2014. So I mean, we're close to almost 10 years since I reviewed the same exact root beer. So it's been a while. That blog stayed dormant for a really long time. So anyway, and I just thought that might be fun, just to be like, oh look, a blog. Who has a blog anymore? But other than that, that's really it for this one. So I hope you had a good time.